Hokage get burning art at the start, Chapter 281 to 300. Chapter 281 Hang you with the power of the sky. It's very simple, because there is not only one way for me to absorb attacks. When I failed to absorb your attacks with my own power, I have found a solution, that is to use Rinnegan's Hungry Ghost Path to absorb attacks at the same time, so that even if it is a two-pronged approach, your attack is arrogant, and it will have no effect on me. You bastard, you really have two strokes, but you can't kill me even so. Dark Emperor Yan said that he immediately used his own extremely fast speed to avoid the attack of the wind. After looking at it, Fengjian smiled coldly again, because he had already thought of a solution to the Dark Emperor flame. So Kazama immediately turned his head and said to Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. We are now forming a circle and using our strongest moves towards the center point. What? Hearing Kazama's words, don't say that Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura couldn't understand. Kakashi, who has always been good at analyzing battles, was at a loss at this moment. Because he knew that their top priority now was to deal with the Dark Emperor Yan. But why did Kazama let them form a circle and attack at the center point? Does this have anything to do with dealing with the Dark Emperor flame? Kakashi immediately asked the wind. Everyone, I don't have time to explain it to you anymore. In short, if you trust me, then you will follow my method. Well, if that's the case, then listen to what you have to say. Hearing what the wind said, Kakashi and the others could only do so. Although they didn't know what Kazama intended, they trusted Kazama very much. In short, as long as it is the strategy that Kazama said, it means that it will be successful. So Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura Kazama immediately aimed at the center point and released their strongest moves. At this time, the Dark Emperor Yan, who was not far away, was also very puzzled by the actions of Fengjian and others. He also thought that Kazama and others were pretending to be mysterious, just to lead him to the past. Therefore, he immediately laughed at the wind again. Hee, I said you little bastard in the wind, you are really stupid, because you can't defeat me, so you pretend to be a mystery to lure me into the bait. Dream of you, I rely on it. Just when the Dark Emperor Yan was constantly laughing at the wind. All of a sudden, he realized that he had come to the center of Kazama and others all of a sudden. At this time, the Dark Emperor Yan hadn't reacted to what was going on, even if he was hit by the attacks of Kazami and others. He lost 7 of his 3 souls in the beating, and it can be said that he was covered in bruises and bruises. What? How is this possible? What kind of magic did you use to move me here? After being hit, the Dark Emperor Yan was puzzled. At this time, don't say that the Dark Emperor Yan can't understand it. Even Kakashi and others never expected that the Dark Emperor flame would suddenly come to the center of himself and others. Because they had seen it with their own eyes before, the Dark Emperor flame was very far away from him. Forgot to tell you one thing, I can make myself or others move at will. What? Hearing that Fengjian actually had this ability, the Dark Emperor Yan was even more shocked. And still couldn't believe it. But now whether he believes it or not, it has now become a fact. Chapter 282 Get 20 different fires at once. Because he has indeed been completely hit by Kazama and others. It stands to reason that the Dark Emperor Yan now possesses 20 kinds of different fires, and its strength has reached an unprecedented and unparalleled strength. But the strength of the wind is also not to be underestimated. And Kazama also has the first-ranked Yuo Dian. Therefore, with a few face-to-face efforts, the Dark Emperor flame was burned into nothingness. And with the death of Dark Emperor Yan, the 20 kinds of different fires fused in his body all began to escape. Just at this critical moment, Kazama immediately unleashed the power of Emperor Yan's source. With the appearance of the number 1 Emperor Flame Fire, most of the 20 kinds of different fires that escaped were immediately absorbed. But because Dark Emperor Yan made a desperate attempt before he died, in order to prevent Fengjian from absorbing all 23 kinds of different fires into his body. Therefore, several of the different fires were directly detonated. With the detonation of these strange fires, there were unexpectedly strong spatial fluctuations. It didn't take long for these different fires to be sucked into the different space. And this time, thanks to Fengyan's quick eyes and quick hands, he hurriedly divided his emperor flame into several strands, and injected marks on these different fires that entered the different space. In this way, even if these strange fires are not in this world, the wind can also find these strange fires smoothly. With the disappearance of the Dark Emperor Flame, Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire, the Pure Lotus Demon Fire, and the Spirit of Life that were sucked into the different space, the rest of the different fires had all been sucked into the body by the wind. Damn, this guy Dark Emperor Yan is really a bastard, and he has to ruin my good deeds when he is dying. Feeling the three strange fires that he had lost in his body, Feng Jian immediately cursed secretly. In the wind, has the Dark Emperor Yan been defeated by us? At this time, Kakashi and the others hurried to Kazama's side. Dark Emperor Yan was indeed killed by us, but before he died, he got my other three kinds of different fires into the different space. What? How should this be? Hearing Kazama's words, Kakashi and others were also very anxious. Although we don't know what this strange fire is, but they know that the reason why Kazejian is so powerful now is thanks to the help of Yiwo. Now that they heard that the three kinds of strange fires were lost in the wind, they naturally felt extremely anxious. And Fengjian is also in a hurry now. Because Kazama knew that it would not be long before the Otsutsuki clan would send Otsutsuki Dao, Otsutsuki Yu and Otsutsuki Kim to come to Earth to recover the tailed beast. And it will also treat everyone on the Earth as the nourishment of the divine tree. So Kazama knew if he wanted to defeat the Otsutsuki trio, then you must quickly find these three kinds of strange fires that you have lost. This way, he will not be at a disadvantage in the future battle with the Otsutsuki clan. Since you have lost the three kinds of strange fires, then we must quickly find the whereabouts of these three kinds of strange fires. Yeah, if you need any help, just let us know, we will do everything in our power to help you. Hearing the words of Kakashi and the others, Kazama immediately smiled and nodded at them. Thank you for your kindness, but I don't have the whereabouts of these three strange fires for now, so let's go back to Konoha first, and then have a long-term plan. Well then. Hearing Kazama's words, Kakashi and the others naturally did not have any objections. Chapter 283 The Kurama clan settled in Otogakure village. At this time, the ninjas of the Kurama clan were very grateful to see Kazama and others saving their lives. Then he immediately rushed to Kazama and said, Lord Kazama, we have all heard of your name, and we all know that you saved our ninja world with your own power. Before we were controlled by demonic illusion, that's why we attacked you, so I hope you don't get mad at us. Yeah, Kazama-sama, if you don't dislike it, I hope you can let us live in your Otogakure village. We also want to do our part for your Otogakure village. This. Hearing the words of the Kurama clan, this was far beyond Kazama's expectations. Because Kazama never thought that the Kurama clan would be willing to join their Otogakure village. After all, the Kurama clan is the oldest clan. Although the strength is not as good as before, it is also not to be underestimated. Therefore, when I heard that the Kurama clan actually offered to join their Otogakure village, Kazama was naturally very happy. Everyone, I heard that your Kuramas live very comfortably, why do you want to join my Otogakure village now? Although Kazama was happy in his heart, he still spoke out the doubts in his heart. This. Hearing Kazama's question, the Kurama clan immediately explained to Kazama. Lord Fengjian, what you heard about our very comfortable life is just an illusion created by us. In fact, we are living in dire straits now. Because our Kurama clan is now gone, some villains covet our Kurama clan's esoteric demonic illusion, and have repeatedly come to trouble our Kurama clan. We alone are hard to resist. Yes, that's why I want to lean against a big tree to enjoy the shade, but don't worry, Lord Kazama, although we want the shelter of your Otogakure village, we won't be free, as long as you have a place where you can use us, we are after all It's all about going through fire and water. Good. Hearing what the Kurama clan said, Kazama immediately smiled and nodded. As long as you make Otogakur your home in the future, I think everyone in Otogakur will accept you. Kazama said, and prepared to use Yomatsu Hirasaka, the art of space, to send the Kurama clan to his Otogakur village. This time, as the strongest and youngest Kurama Yakumo in the Kurama clan, he chose to stay. This can suddenly make the wind bewildered. Because Kazama wants to accept the Kurama clan, a large part of the reason is because of Kurama Yakumo. After all, the strength of Kurama Yakumo, Kazama has already experienced it. As long as you practice diligently in the future, you will definitely become one of the best masters in the future. Before, because of my reasons, my clan was controlled. All of this was caused by me, so I have no face to continue living in the Kurama clan, and of course it is impossible to go to your Otogakur village, Lord Kazama, so you just leave me to fend for myself. How is this possible? Hearing Kurama Yakumo's words, Kazama immediately shook his head at her. Anyone who is not a saint and a sage has no fault, and it was not your own will before, but you inadvertently absorbed the fallen heart flame, which caused you to go crazy, so in the end, even if it is wrong, it is my fault, don't carry too many burdens. Chapter 284 Battle of Kanabi Bridge. Yes. At this time, the members of the Kurama family immediately persuaded Kurama Yakumo. You are the hero of our Kurama clan. When the enemy came to us in the past, you helped us to repel the enemy. If you don't come, how can we live alone in Otogakur village? Everyone, don't you really blame me? Hearing what everyone said, and seeing Kazama's hopeful eyes, Kurama Yakumo nodded happily. And when Kazama sent the Kurama clan to his Otogakur village, Kazama was about to start looking for the Yuhi Lotus karmic fire, the pure lotus demon fire, and the soul of life that were sucked into the different space one by one. And the reason why Kazama told Kakashi and others that he didn't know where the three strange fires were. The purpose is not to want Kakashi and others to accompany him on his adventures. After all, the different dimensions where these three different fires are located are very dangerous. And the situation inside is not very clear. Therefore, the wind can only go and find out by himself. After that, Kazama immediately used his super perception to look for the fluctuations of the strange fire mark. It didn't take long for the whereabouts of these three different fires to be found. At this time, Feng Shi's heart was filled with excitement. Because these three different fires were during the Third Ninja World War, during the Second Generation's reign, and during the First Generation's establishment of Konoha. In this case, as long as I go back to the past, I can find the strange fire I lost, but if I go back to the past, it will definitely change history. I don't know if it will affect the current direction of the Hokage world. Thinking of this, Kazami immediately threw this question to the system. Please rest assured, the host, the space where the Yuhi Lotus karmic fire, the pure lotus demon fire and the soul of life are located as a parallel space, so even if the host returns to the past and changes the history, it will not affect the future practice and development. Oh, in that case that's really nice. Hearing the system's words, Kazama completely dispelled the worries in his heart. And Kazama will save the fourth, second and first generations long ago. After all, they are idols of the wind. Since there is this opportunity now, Kazama will never give up no matter what. To go back to the past, Kazama can only use an antique stored in the Konoha Institute. This antique is the treasure of the Otsutsuki clan, brought to Earth by Otsutsuki Kagaya. Since people don't know its use, it is naturally forgotten. But for Kazama, who is familiar with Hokage's plot, he will not forget this thing. As long as there is this time machine, the wind will be able to smoothly shuttle between the past and the future. Thinking of this, Kazama immediately came to the Konoha Institute. Since it was already late at night, Kazama used the technique of space again. So, without knowing it, he took this time machine into his hands. It was then injected with chakra, and then the time machine showed its original shape and turned into a palm-sized turtle. This treasure of the Otsutsuki clan is really interesting. Who would have thought that a time machine could actually be a turtle? The wind immediately smiled secretly. And just when Kazama was about to let the time machine take him to the 4th generation period, that is, the period of the Third Ninja World War, the turtle immediately rejected Kazama's request. This treasure belongs to the Otsutsuki family. Unless I use the bloodline power of the Otsutsuki family, I will not send you back to the past. Hee, it seems that you look down on me. Seeing that he was underestimated by a turtle, Kazama immediately laughed. Reincarnation Sharingan of his pair of 9 Tomo. How? Do I have the power of the Otsutsuki clan now? Have it, have it. Seeing these eyes in the wind, the turtle was immediately shocked. Because the strength that Kazama is showing now is even more powerful than the ordinary Otsutsuki clan. Then Kazama came to a battlefield of the Third Ninja World War. Kanabi Bridge that changed the life of Kakashi and Obito. Chidori. As soon as Kazama came here, he saw a silver-haired boy holding an electric light and thunder, killing an enemy not far away. Chapter 285 Rescue Kakashi. Although at this time Fengjian has not yet found the whereabouts of the creature's Yan. But since Kazama met Kakashi here, he couldn't wait for help. Because Kazama knew that Kakashi at this time had just mastered Chidori. As for Chidori's shortcomings, Kakashi is unclear. To know that Chidori is Raiden Thunder style, although it can enhance the movement speed of the caster. However, because the movement speed is too fast, it will not be able to see the enemy's counterattack. If Kakashi had Sharingan, but now Kakashi doesn't have Sharingan. Therefore, even if Kakashi hits the enemy at this time, Kakashi will actually be killed by the enemy. Thinking of this, Kakashi immediately blocked Kakashi's body with a face-to-face kung fu. Blocked the enemy's steel knife that was about to slash at Kakashi, and immediately kicked the enemy to the ground. Then Kakashi was thrown aside. What, is there an enemy? Because Kakashi didn't see the enemy's attack clearly, he didn't know it was Kazama who saved him, and he thought it was Kazama who was going to deal with him. So he prepared to use the Chidori Chauka's attack again. But when he saw the forehead guard on Funyun's head, he was taken aback. Because Kazama's symbol of Hokage is now their symbol of their Konoha ninja. Who the hell are you? I have never seen you in our village, and why do you want to block my attack? Could it be that you are a spy sent by the enemy? Kakashi immediately questioned Kazama continuously. Kakashi saw that Kakashi was a talker when he was a child. He secretly smiled and said, I thought Kakashi was a cold-faced warrior since he was a child, but now I didn't expect that he had a lot of words when he was a child. Just when Kazami was thinking about it, the enemy who had been kicked to the ground by Kazami earlier. A carp stood up straight, and then killed it again towards the wind. You little bastard, you dare to attack me, it's really unbearable or unbearable. Clap clap clap. Just when the enemy kept shouting at Fengjian once again punched and kicked the enemy, knocking him unconscious. Because Kazama's shot was very quick and agile, even Kakashi was shocked. At this time, Namikaze Minato, Kakashi's teammates Uchiha Obito, and Nohara Rin also all came here. When they saw that the enemy here had been eliminated by Kazama, and saw that Kazama was wearing Konoha's clothes, but his appearance was very unfamiliar, this suddenly made them puzzled. At this time, Kakashi hurriedly came to Namikaze Minato. Teacher, now this man is sneaky, he previously blocked my decisive battle with the enemy, and then he knocked the enemy to the ground with 3 punches and 2 feet, and he also wears our Konoha forehead, but I don't know at all what is his name, and I have never seen him in the village. You must try him properly, maybe he is a spy in our village. Hee, I said Kakashi, but now you misunderstood me. What? How did you know my name? That's when Kakashi kept saying bad things about the Kazama to Namikaze Minato. Kakashi was even more shocked when he heard Kazama call his name suddenly, so he immediately questioned Kazama. Chapter 286 Shocking Namikaze Minato. Then Feng Jian turned his head and thought to himself, if I told them the truth, they would never believe in such a thing as time travel. After all, time travel was something that even I did before. I won't believe it, but now if I don't tell them the truth, they will treat me as a bad person in all likelihood, which is not conducive to my next search for the flame of life. What should I do? At this time, Kazama suddenly thought that Anbu in Konoha is very mysterious. And Anbu never showed his true face, so Kazama decided to pretend to be Anbu's person and gain the trust of Kakashi and others. Thinking of this, Kazama immediately rushed to Kakashi and Namikaze Minato and said, "Everyone, you misunderstood, I am not a spy, but an Anbu ninja of Konoha, because I have been carrying out secret missions before, so it is normal for you not to know me, but now that our third war has reached the white-hot stage and is in full swing, so I was sent to the battlefield by the 3 generations of Hokage-sama to assist your Namikaze Minato class to block the enemy together." Is it true? When Namikaze Minato heard Kazama's words, he immediately looked up and down at Kazama. Of course it's true. Namikaze Minato nodded immediately after hearing Kazama's oath. It's not that Namikaze Minato didn't doubt Kazama. But because it was the time of the war, even if Namikaze Minato suspected, he didn't have much time to find out the truth of the matter. However, Namikaze Minato also temporarily sees that Kazama should be friends rather than enemies. Otherwise, Kazama wouldn't have helped Kakashi defeat the enemy just now. And at this moment, Namikaze Minato rushed into the wind again and said, "Since you are sent by the 3rd generation, then let's continue the mission. But I think this person is sneaky. 9 times out of 10, he is not a good person." Kakashi was still a little worried about Kazama. Kakashi, I didn't expect you to have such a heavy heart. You actually said that I'm not a good person." Hearing Kakashi's words, Kazama immediately smiled helplessly. In fact, he also understood Kakashi's concerns. After all, if someone suddenly appeared in front of him and blocked his attack, then he would be suspicious of him. "Kakashi, I understand what you mean, but now our war has reached the white-hot stage, in full swing, and our main task is to destroy the Shinwubi Bridge and prevent the enemy's reinforcements from delivering supplies, so our priority is not here. Ask if this person is a good person. In short, no matter whether he is a good person or a bad person, as long as he can help us in the next task, then he is a good person, but if he is a bad person, then I will also not forgive him lightly." Namikaze Minato looked at Kazama while talking. At this time, Kazama nodded at Namikaze Minato without caring. Seeing the wind, even if he heard his own threat, he was still calm. This Namikaze Minato also had a high opinion of Kazama in his heart. At this time, a large number of enemies suddenly appeared in front. This immediately shocked Namikaze Minato in his heart. How should this be? What's wrong? Seeing that there were only hundreds of enemies in front of him, Namikaze Minato became so nervous that Kazama was naturally puzzled. Chapter 287. A shot is a million Mokuten, wood-style clone. You don't know, now our goal was to defend the Shinwubi Bridge, but we didn't expect to leak the news. The enemy has set up a lot of obstacles on our way to Shinwubi Bridge. If we can't reach Shinwubi Bridge on time, we will block it. If we cut off the enemy reinforcements, then Konoha may really be besieged by the enemy this time. Quote. Oh, since that's the case, can't we just defeat these blocking enemies now? What you said is quite simple. At this time, Kakashi laughed again into the wind. Do you know that there are hundreds of enemies in front of you now, and all of them are Jonin, the serious Iwagakure village, who is best at wide area attacks? How could the few of us be their opponents now? Isn't there a lot of people? Let me tell you, there is no difference between 100 people and one person in front of me. What? Are you talking big to me? Or are you drunk? When Kakashi heard Kazama's words, he thought Kazama was bragging, so he immediately burst out laughing at Kazama. At this time, Fengshi didn't pay any attention to him at all. Immediately after a face-to-face effort, the Mokuten wood-style clone was immediately cast. A few face-to-face efforts have separated thousands of clones. This scared Kakashi back a few steps. And not to mention Kakashi, even Namikaze Minato, Uchiha Obito and Nohara Rin were all shocked. They have never seen someone who can display so many clones at once. And these avatars are all Mokuden, wood-style avatars, the unique secret number of the original Hokage Senju Hashirama. This completely refreshed their worldview. At this time, Namikaze Minato was even more curious about Kazama. But even if he was curious now, he didn't have time to ask Kazama anymore. After all, now the enemy has roared. And at this time, the enemy in the distance, because they saw only 5 of them in Kazama before, they still wanted to hang Kazama and others. But they didn't expect that there are thousands of Mokuden, wood-style clones in Kazama all of a sudden. Now that they no longer have an advantage in numbers, this can suddenly shock them. At this time, one of the leaders of the enemy, when he saw Kazama, suddenly displayed so many clones. This suddenly shocked him, but he was not afraid of it. Instead, he immediately sneered in the wind and said, "Hee hee, you little bastard, you look like a rubbish genin, and you dare to fight against our Jonin. No matter how many clones you have displayed, it's useless." This Iwagakure village finished laughing at Kazama. He immediately started cheering for the people behind him. "Don't be afraid, everyone, this little brat just wants to use these thousands of avatars to confuse us, confuse our behavior, and let us retreat. He's bruised and bruised." Hearing the leader's words, those enemies immediately showed courage. So in a face-to-face effort, all of them were killed towards Fengjan and the others. At this time, Namikaze Minato immediately prepared to fight the enemy after seeing it. But who knew that the wind stopped him? "These enemies don't take action at all, I can easily beat them with bruises and bruises." Chapter 288 I Just Hang. As soon as the voice of the wind fell, his thousands of Mokuden, wood-style clones took a few hits. It really knocked all the hundreds of Iwagakure ninjas to the ground. Seeing the thousands of Mokuden, wood-style clones in the wind is so awesome, so powerful. Not only was Namikaze Minato shocked, but everyone in Iwagakure village was also shocked. Because they all know that this clone can only exert 30% of the strength of the main body. The thousands of Mokuden, wood-style clones in the wind today are much more powerful than them in terms of individual combat capabilities. This shows that the main body of the wind is even more powerful and more powerful. This suddenly shocked everyone in the Iwagakure village. At this time, the leader of the enemy was also full of disbelief. But even if he saw the powerful strength of the wind, he was unwilling to stop there. Because he thought that he was still a dignified Jonin no matter what. How could he be willing to be defeated by this servant of Kazami? Therefore, in a face-to-face effort, he once again ordered his subordinates to cast Doden, earth-style, at the same time, vowing to break the wind into pieces. Doden, earth-style, earthquake. As these hundreds of Iwagakure village ninja Doden, earth-style cast, the place where Kazama and the others stood all had the earthquake-like fluctuations. It was like the 12-magnitude earthquake, and Namikaze Minato, Kakashi and others were really dizzy. Seeing that all the enemies were doing their best, Namikaze Minato hurriedly commanded Kazama and the others to retreat. But the wind immediately smiled and shook his head. "It's just Doden, earth-style, nothing to be afraid of." "What?" Hearing Kazama's words, and seeing that a genin in Kazama is calmer than his dignified Jonin, Namikaze Minato is very surprised. But just when he was about to ask the wind room, he saw that the thousands of Mokuden, wood-style clones in the wind room actually cast Doden, earth-style, at the same time. Tunton, the technique of super heavy rock. The Doden, earth-style, of the thousands of Mokuden, wood-style clones in the wind, the area that had just been shaken by the ground was instantly suppressed. And it was still suppressed by the wind. Seeing that Kazama made thousands of clones cast Doden, earth-style, at the same time, Namikaze Minato and the enemy were all shocked. Because they never expected that the thousands of clones in the wind are not only powerful. How could he still cast such a powerful Doden, earth-style, at the same time? You must know that even a super heavy rock technique is enough to consume a lot of chakra. But now these thousands of clones in the wind can actually perform thousands of super heavy rock techniques at the same time. This was far beyond their expectations, and it was something they never dreamed of. At this time, Namikaze Minato was full of admiration for Kazama. After all, even Namikaze Minato himself cannot perform ninjutsu at the same time as his clone. Because of this chakra consumption, even a cage-level expert can't do it. A mediocre genin in the Kazama did it, and Namikaze Minato was shocked. And at the same time that Namikaze Minato and others were shocked. Kazama has ordered his thousands of clones to defeat all the hundreds of Iwagakure village ninjas on the opposite side. Now let's rush to Shinwubi Bridge right now. Hearing Kazama's words, Namikaze Minato and the others naturally nodded. Kakashi, who initially disliked Kazama, couldn't help but look at Kazama. Chapter 289 Whoever refuses to hang and beat whoever. At this time, Kazama seems to have become the new captain of the Namikaze Minato class. The most urgent task of Kazejian now is to find the flame of the living being. However, Kazama also knew that it didn't matter if the flame of life was looking for it later. But if you say that he is not helping the Namikaze Minato class right now, then it will make Kakashi, Obito, and Nohara Rin suffer the pain of life and death. This is not what Kazama wants to see. Although this is just a parallel world, even if Kazama changed their fate, it would be useless in that real world. But even if it was useless, Kazama didn't want to watch them die. After all, Kazama is a very kind person, and whether it is Namikaze Minato, Kakashi, Nohara Rin, Obito, Kazama respects and likes people very much. So Kazama knew that he had to help them. So not long after, they and others came to Shinwubi Bridge. This is Namikaze Minato's surprise when he first came here. I couldn't help but take a few steps back, and I fell out in cold sweat. Namikaze Minato, who has always been calm, showed such an expression. Kazama was even more puzzled, so he immediately asked Namikaze Minato, Ms. Minato, why are you so shocked? You don't know something. At this time, Namikaze Minato said, and immediately gestured to Kazama, and let him look at the three ninjas on the bridge above the bridge. These three are the super jonin of Iwagakure village, known as the Three Killing Brothers. These three brothers are extremely powerful and are particularly good at cooperating with ninjutsu. If these three join forces, let's not say it's us, it's the serious cage. Level masters are hard to resist. Just as Namikaze Minato said so. The Three Killing Brothers suddenly cast Oden, Earth-style, thickening and strengthening the bridge of the Shinwubi Bridge again. Damn. At this time, Namikaze Minato was shocked again when he saw the act of killing the three brothers. Because even the fool knew at this time that the killing of the three brothers was obviously to prevent Namikaze Minato and the others from fighting the bridge. And if Namikaze Minato and others have no way to destroy the Shinwubi Bridge, then there is no way to stop the reinforcements from Iwagakure village. If that's the case, then their Konoha is in crisis. Damn, I originally wanted to use the Hiraishin technique to deal with these three people, and then take the opportunity to lead these three people away, so that you can blow up the Shinwubaichao, but now I didn't expect to kill the three brothers. To actually take one step ahead of us and make the Shinwubaichao invincible, what should we do? Even the resourceful Namikaze Minato was not paying attention at the moment. Hee, don't worry, no matter how hard the Shinwu Bridge becomes, I can still destroy it. What? Are you serious? Seeing Kazama's confidence, Namikaze Minato was taken aback. At this time, Namikaze Minato did not wait for a response. Kazama made a face-to-face effort, and immediately cast his full-body Susanoo. The appearance of this complete Susanoo, Namikaze Minato, Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and Nohara Rin all slumped to the ground. Because they have never seen such a powerful move. Especially Obito, because he is a member of the Uchiha family, so he is very familiar with this complete Susanoo. Chapter 290 I will only fight against 10,000. But when it comes to familiarity, he has only heard Susanoo mentioned by their Uchiha clan. But he never really saw it. Forbidden technique of his Uchiha family, Obito was naturally stunned. And now with the appearance of the complete body Susanoo of Kazama. Shinwubi Bridge also immediately discovered the traces of Namikaze Minato and others. So he immediately sneered and killed them. You bastards, our three brothers have been waiting here for you to fall into the trap for a long time. Don't think that you can act in front of us with this rubbish trick you are using now. Although the three killing brothers saw Kazama's current complete body Susanoo. But since they had never seen this ninjutsu before, they thought that Kazama was playing tricks on it now. I thought this Susanoo from Kazama was useless. Therefore, he immediately killed this Susanoo in Kazama. But what the three of them did not expect was that the strength of the three of them now is simply not enough to fight against Susanoo in the wind. Therefore, after a few face-to-face kung fu, the famous three brothers were beaten into flesh, Chan by Susanoo in the wind. Seeing the three famous murderous brothers, he couldn't even hold a single round in the hands of the wind. This can really refresh the worldview of Namikaze Minato and others. When Namikaze Minato and others were surprised, Kazama used the sword of Susanoo. The indestructible Shinwubi Bridge was chopped down in pieces. Seeing that Kazama's strength is so superb, Namikaze Minato, Kakashi and others are naturally even more shocked. However, they never expected that this S-level mission was supposed to be the god-incomparable bridge destruction battle. It was so easy in the hands of the wind, so easy to be solved. They really didn't expect such a monstrous genius to emerge from their Konoha village. At this time, with the wind, the Shinwubi Bridge was cut off. Iwagakure village in front saw that Kazama had destroyed their supply. They were naturally furious. You must know that if you change to other ninja villages, there is no bridge is the only way, maybe they will really stop there. But for the people of Iwagakure village, even if there is no Shinwubi Bridge, they will not stop fighting. Because Iwagakure village ninjas are best at building bridges with Doden earth style. So these ninjas from Iwagakure village were swarming again, and they all slaughtered towards the wind. At this time, Namikaze Minato saw the army of Iwagakure village in front of him, and instead of confronting his own army of Konoha, he killed him instead. This suddenly surprised Namikaze Minato. So Namikaze Minato hurried into the wind and said, I said this little brother, now we should retreat as soon as possible, after all, our task now is to compare the bridge. Yes, now the actions of the enemy have greatly exceeded our expectations, and we must not be rigid with these enemies now. This is Kakashi also said immediately. Besides, with the strength of the four of us, there is no way to fight against these thousands of Iwagakure village ninjas. Hehe, don't worry, what I am good at in the wind is to fight against 10,000. Chapter 291 You're so arrogant. What? Kakashi was even more shocked when he heard that Kazama wanted to fight against the thousands of ninjas alone. So he asked with suspicion in the wind, I said you are a person, don't talk too much, although I know that your strength is indeed very powerful, and you are always arrogant, but you should also know that there are only 5 people, how can it be possible to beat the thousands of ninja army of the other side? If you don't withdraw, then the 3 of us will withdraw, and we don't want to accompany you to die. I said Kakashi, how can you talk like this? At this time Kazama hadn't opened his mouth, but Namikaze Minato immediately scolded Kakashi. I tell you Kakashi, the task of this Shinwubi Bridge was originally for the 4 of us, and now with the addition of Kazama, we can successfully complete this task, but now you have to abandon our companions and leave, you do this as it's suitable. But I said, teacher, have you forgotten the rules of our ninjas? We ninjas are meant to complete the task at all costs. Now that our task is completed, why should I die in vain? I don't want to die in vain, but now that our companions are still here, we must not be great. At this time, Uchiha Obito also stood up immediately. Although he had only known him for half a day, he had already regarded him as his companion. And Kakashi, although not a cold-blooded person, suffered the shadow of his father's death due to his childhood. Therefore, he regards the task as more important than everything else, and he thinks that those who cannot complete the task are waste. But Obito thinks that people who don't care about the lives of their comrades are worse than trash. And this time was when Uchiha Obito, Namikaze Minato and Kakashi were arguing. The army of thousands of Iwagakure villages had already killed them. At this time, Kazama didn't show a trace of panic when facing the thousands of ninja army. Instead, he turned his head to look at Kakashi. Kakashi, you're right, missions are indeed very important to ninjas, but I agree with Obito's idea that the life of your companions is the most important thing compared to missions, so I won't let you die. This time I will deal with the enemy alone, and the four of you will retreat immediately. What? Heard that Kazama really insisted on dealing with the thousands of enemies alone, Kakashi was stunned. I am not a person who takes credit and pride. I am not a person who likes to brag. The reason why I stay here now is because I am sure to defeat the army of thousands of Iwagakure villages. If you don't believe it, you can just watch the show here. Quote. Voice fell, he immediately used the 6 divine weapons on Susanoo, the Susanoo sword, Yushu ice mirror, grass pheasant sword, and burning sky bow. A few face-to-face fights, it was indissoluble with the thousands of ninjas in the village of Iwagakure. Afterwards, Kazama defeated all the tens of thousands of ninjas in Sunagakure village by himself. Kazama's current feat, the Konoha army who had been prepared to come to support, was shocked and froze in place. Chapter 292 Hanging Young Tsuchikajinoki. They thought that Kazama alone would be killed by the people of Iwagakure village. But they never expected that now Kazama alone has defeated the tens of thousands of troops in Iwagakure village. This is something they never dreamed of. At this time, Konoha's ninja army thought that Konoha would be able to defeat the village of Iwagakure this time. Iwagakure village who had been killed by Kazama were all resurrected in the next moment. Don't say that Konoha ninja didn't expect it at this time, even Kazama was shocked. Because he had killed all these people in Iwagakure village with his own hands, why were they able to resurrect again? They are all serious human beings. They shouldn't have the ability to bring back the dead. Could it be the flame of life? Thinking of this, Feng Jian was both surprised and happy. Because Kazama traveled through time and space to the period of the Third Ninja World War. It was because he felt the flame of life that could bring people back to life here. Iwagakure village who were beheaded by him, he was able to resurrect again. Kazama is sure that someone is secretly casting the flame of life, so these people will be resurrected. Just when Fengjian was about to take advantage of the situation to find the soul of Yan Xiaoluo. Suddenly, I saw Tsuchikajinoki, who is known as the 2 Days of Peace, and flew in front of him. Hee, I didn't expect Onoki to be so young at this time. Seeing the appearance of Tsuchikajinoki, Kazama smiled secretly. Although it is said that in the real world, Kazama has already united with Tsuchikajinoki. But now in a parallel world, and now Konoha is also fighting against Iwagakure village. So Kazama knew that now he and Tsuchikajinoki were hostile. At this time, Kazama used his super perception again, and only then did he realize that the flame of life was in Tsuchikajinoki's body. This is really nowhere to be found after stepping through the iron shoes, and it takes no effort to get it. Thinking of this, Kazama immediately said to Tsuchikajinoki, if my expectations are correct, you should have obtained the strange fire that can bring people back to life, so you resurrected your subordinates. Hee, you little bastard, you know quite a lot depending on how young you are. Seeing a face-to-face kung fu in the wind, he knew the existence of the flame of life in his body, and Onoki sneered immediately. And now it's just like what the wind said. The army of thousands of ninjas in the village of Iwagakure was able to come back to life. Because Onoki casts the flame of life on them. And Iwagakure village was able to defeat the Konoha army before, because Onoki used the flame of life. So Konoha could not win against the army of ninjas who could not be killed by the Iwagakure village manager. At this time, Tsuchikajinoki rushed into the wind again and said, I really didn't expect that a person of such high strength in Konoha would be able to defeat the army of thousands of ninjas in our village of Iwagakure by yourself. The losing streak, you are really awesome, you are really amazing. Hehe, no matter how good I am, I can't compare to you, Tsuchikage-sama. I never imagined that you would be able to practice the magic of that dead soul. It's too amazing to talk about, but now you Konoha are definitely not the opponents of our Iwagakure village, and it's easy to deal with you, so you say that if you know the face, immediately kneel down and kowtow 10,000 times to me. Or I will burn you to ashes. Chapter 293 Awesome, really awesome. Do you think the mere flames of living beings can protect your Iwagakure village and never fail? Then I have to give it a try today to see if you are resurrecting faster or if I am attacking faster. Voice fell, he immediately rushed to Onoki and killed him. At this time, Namikaze Minato, who was in the back, saw Tsuchikage's appearance, and originally wanted to call for Kazama to retreat. After all, he knew that Kazama was as good as he was, so how could he possibly beat the dignified Tsuchikage? But Namikaze Minato didn't expect that now, instead of retreating, Kazama took the initiative to kill Tsuchikage. This was far beyond Namikaze Minato's expectations. At this time, not only that Namikaze Minato, but also Kakashi and others on the side were shocked. After all, in their eyes, the wind is just as genin as they are. Now a mediocre genin is on a par with a dignified Tsuchikage, how can this surprise them? At this time, Kakashi, who had always been arrogant, couldn't help but sneered at the wind room again. I said that this kid called Kazama really doesn't know whether to live or die, and I don't know when such a stupid person appeared in our Konoha village. What? How dare you insult Kazama? At this time, Uchiha Obito grabbed Kakashi's collar and said angrily to him. Hehe, what does this have to do with you? Could it be that you and this Kazama are friends? When Kakashi saw Uchiha Obito, the useless tail of the crane in his eyes, he dared to grab his collar, and he was immediately furious. Then a palm knocked it to the ground. Although I have only known Fengjan for a long time, Fengjan saved your life before, and also ours, and also helped us complete the mission of Shinwu Baichao. Now he is going to cover our retreat and go alone. To deal with the powerful Tsuchikage, not only did you not go up to help, but you even dared to sneer here, which really pissed me off. As Obito spoke, he got up and attacked Kakashi, but unfortunately Obito was not Kakashi's opponent. Therefore, between 3 hits, 5 and 2, he was knocked to the ground again by Kakashi. I tell you, now I just look down on Kazama, because Kazama is really ridiculous. A mere genin can beat thousands of Iwagakure ninjas before, God blesses him already, but now he still brazenly wants to fight against Tsuchikage, isn't that just courting death? If even a genin like Kazama can beat the dignified Tsuchikage, we really need us. What's the use of these chunin and jonin? So even if someone like Kazama dies, it's not a pity to die. As Kakashi said that, he sneered again and looked at Kazama who was fighting against Tsuchikage. But what happened next shocked him. Because he originally thought that Kazama would definitely be easily killed by Tsuchikage. But he never expected that Kazama had already fought against that Tsuchikage for dozens of rounds, and he still didn't lose. This suddenly surprised Kakashi again. He never expected that now Kazejian is really so powerful, that he can even compete with Tsuchikage. At this time, Tsuchikage saw a genin in Kazama, and he actually fought with him for hundreds of rounds without losing the wind, which immediately made him angry. Chapter 294 Kill Tsuchikage. So immediately cast his own Kekkei Genkei Jinten particle style. Xiaozha Mao, I admit that you are indeed very powerful. Your current strength is far beyond my imagination. It's a pity that you are very powerful, and you are only a small genin, so now I will send you on. West. Jinten particle style, metaverse stripping art. Onoki said a face-to-face kung fu, and immediately cast Jinten particle style to kill him. Oops. Namikaze Minato was shocked when he saw it, and immediately wanted to use the technique of Hiraishin to save Kazama. But he forgot to leave a mark on Kazami, and at this time Onoki's attack speed was too fast. Therefore, after a few face-to-face efforts, Jinten particle style has completely hit Kazama. It's over, this Jinten particle style is Onoki's ninjutsu and his trump card. There's no way to avoid it. Kakashi immediately laughed at Kazama again, but although Kakashi said so on the surface, he was very anxious about Kazama's current comfort in his heart. Just because Kakashi suffered a lot of pain in his childhood, causing him to have a shadow in his heart now. Therefore, it is impossible for him to care about Fengjan seriously. At this time, Onoki sneered when he saw that Kazama was hit by his Jinten particle style split detachment of the primitive world technique. You little bastard, anyone who has been hit by my split detachment of the primitive world technique, everyone can survive, and a rubbish genin like you can be killed by my Jinten particle style. It can be regarded as the blessing that you have cultivated in 3 lifetimes. Quote. If this is considered convincing, then I would rather not. What? How is this possible? Just when Onoki thought that Kazama would definitely die, he found that after Jinten particle style dissipated, Kazama was still standing still intact. This was so frightening that Onoki fell directly from the air to the ground. At this time, Namikaze Minato, Kakashi, Uchiha Obito and others were also scared and took a few steps back. They never expected that Kazama was hit by Jinten particle style and would be safe. At this time, Kazama took a single-handed look, and immediately cast the Jinten particle style that he mastered. Jinten particle style, the art of peeling off the mirror metaverse. What? Surprised when he saw that Kazama also used his unique secret technique Jinten particle style. And at the same time he was surprised, the 4 Jinten particle style lines in the wind had already surrounded Onoki firmly. I am sorry, Onoki, although you and I are allies in the real world, but now we are enemies in the parallel world, so it's either you or me. As the sound of the wind fell, the 4 Jinten particle style came at the same time. An instant, Onoki reached nothingness. At this time, as Onoki was killed by Jinten particle style, the spirit of life in Onoki was immediately reabsorbed by Kazama. It's great, now that I have obtained the flame of life, then only the pure lotus demon fire and the Yuhi lotus fire are left. At this time, Kazama, who has obtained the flame of life, is very happy. And at this time, Namikaze Minato, Kakashi and others below, when they saw Kazama actually kill Tsuchikage, they were shocked. Then Kakashi secretly hated himself for underestimating Kazama earlier. Now Kazama's strength is not to mention himself, even at serious cage level master can't be Kazama's opponent. So Kakashi didn't dare to underestimate Kazama at this time. Chapter 295 I just like to beat cage level masters. And not only did he not dare to look down on Fengjan, he even admired Fengjan very much in his heart. At this time, Namikaze Minato came to Kazama's side immediately after a face-to-face effort. And he said happily at Fengjan, I said little brother Fengjan, you are really awesome, you are really amazing, I have never seen a mere genin who can actually take that serious person. Killed by Tsuchikage, you are really amazing. Yes, Fengjan, you are really amazing. At this time, Kakashi also immediately gave a thumbs up to the wind. I heard that Jinten particle style is Tsuchikage's trump card. Why do you use it too? This. Seeing Kakashi, who looked down on him before, but now keeps complimenting him, Kazama immediately laughed. I said Kakashi, don't worry about how I learned this Jinten particle style, I remember you swore before that I would be killed by Tsuchikage, why are you complimenting me like this now? What? This. At this time, Kakashi was embarrassed when he saw which pot was not opened and lifted in the wind, and then shook his head with a wry smile. At this time, the army of Konoha and the others below, when they saw Kazama, actually killed the opponent's Tsuchikage. Then they also know that this time their Konoha not only got rid of the crisis, but also defeated the village of Iwagakure seriously. At this time, just as the Konoha army expected, the ninjas from the Iwagakure village below, once they saw that the leader of their village, Tsuchikage, was beheaded, they naturally did not dare to continue to fight against the Konoha army. So everyone immediately prepared to escape, but at this time, a face-to-face effort in the wind stopped everyone. I tell you, I am a ninja in Konoha village. Although I am hostile to you, I am not a bloodthirsty person. It was you Tsuchikage who had to kill me before, and I was also forced to. I have no choice but to take action against you, so now I hope you can allies with Konoha and live in peace, so that we can stop the third ninja war in earnest. Haha, it really makes me laugh. At this time, before Kazama finished speaking, everyone in Iwagakure village immediately laughed at Kazama. Let me tell you boy, although your strength is indeed very powerful now, and you are far beyond our imagination, but do you think that our Iwagakure village and your Konoha alliance can bring peace to the troubled world? I tell you it's absolutely impossible. Oh, why is that? Seeing that everyone in this Iwagakure village is clearly dying, obviously they are not their opponents, but now they still dare to act in front of themselves and dare to be arrogant in front of them. If it were a single person, I am afraid that these people would have been smashed into tens of thousands of pieces. But now Fengjian has not attacked them. After all, as Kazama said, he is not the heinous person. If he is a heinous person, then it is impossible for him to obtain the 23 kinds of strange fires. After all, God will not let an evil person be so arrogant and powerful. At this time, when the Iwagakure people heard Kazama's question, they sneered at him again. I said you kid, do you really not know or not? Now our entire ninja world is in chaos, and Kurigakure village in the land of water, Kumogakure village in the land of thunder, Sunagakure village in the land of wind, all are in each other's dogfights. The fight is in full swing. Chapter 296 Shock the Three Shadows. Even if our two villages join forces, they will not stop, and not only will they not stop, but they will also regard us as the target of public criticism, and it is impossible to fall into serious peace. According to what you said, then I just need to let the chiefs of these three villages join us. What? I said you kid, don't blow the big Kiba away. Yeah, don't think you've beaten our Tsuchikage, you're really so awesome. Seeing this Iwagakure village people do not believe that they can quell the war. Kazama immediately decided to go to other battlefields and end the Third Ninja World War as soon as possible. Although Kazama has now obtained the Soul of Life, he is unwilling to watch these many ninjas fall into dire straits. After all, Kazama thought that he was a righteous person, so he had the obligation to help everyone get rid of the war. At this time, Namikaze Minato learned that Kazama was actually going to another battlefield to fight against 3 other cage-level masters, which surprised him. So he hurriedly persuaded the wind. I said little brother Kazama, don't worry now, you know that Kazekage, Reikage, Mizukage are more powerful, and now if you are defeated by them, this is our Konoha loss. Quote. Yeah, and now that you have killed Tsuchikage, then these few moments of effort will be passed on to the ears of the other 3 cage-level masters. In order to eradicate you, the 3 of them will definitely join forces to deal with you. Hearing Namikaze Minato and Kakashi persuading him, Kazama immediately smiled and shook his head. At this time, the 4th generation of Kazekage, the 4th generation of Mizukage, and the 3rd generation of Reikage have come to the wind. As Namikaze Minato said earlier, since the 3 of them heard that Konoha had produced a genin who could kill Tsuchikage, they were naturally shocked. Naturally, they couldn't let Kazama continue to live, so they had to join forces to kill Kazama. At this time, when Fengshi saw the arrival of these 3 people, he was not afraid at all. Not only was he not afraid, but he even laughed at them. Because even if the 3 of them don't come to Kazama, Kazama will go to them and force them to stop the Ninja World War. Now that these 3 people are here, Kazama is just happy to be there. It just happened to let them see their own strength and force them to stop fighting. At this time, the 4th generation of Kazekage, the 4th generation of Mizukage, and the third generation of Hokage saw that Kazama was just a teenage child. But they were able to kill that Tsuchikage, and they immediately felt ashamed and angry. I felt that Kazama insulted the names of these cage-level masters. Therefore, without saying a word, a face-to-face kung fu immediately killed the wind. This immediately shocked Namikaze Minato and Kakashi. At this time, Kakashi was the first to be scared to the ground by the three cage-level masters. Although Namikaze Minato is very powerful, he cannot defeat three with one. Therefore, after a few face-to-face efforts, these three cage-level masters were beaten and retreated in a row. Hee, you son of a bitch, now we'll kill you first. At this time, Kazekage, Hokage, and Mizukage immediately prepared to kill Namikaze Minato first. After all, Namikaze Minato's yellow flashing name, they are also very afraid in their hearts. And at this moment, Kazama immediately used his heavenly hand to switch Namikaze Minato to himself. Now the attacks of the three cage-level masters have all hit Kazama's body. At this time, Kazekage, Mizukage, and Hokage didn't know how Kazama and Namikaze Minato changed positions in an instant. But they don't have to look into it. After all, in their eyes, killing Namikaze Minato is the same as killing Kazama. They figured it would be enough if they could deal with Konoha's masters. But what they didn't expect was that. Now the attack of the three of them was behind Kazami. Not only was Kazama safe and sound, he even absorbed all the attacks of the three of them into his body. This shocked them all at once. What? How is this possible? Is your kid a monster? The three had never seen a ninja who could absorb an attack. Therefore, they were naturally shocked. While they were shocked, Kazami immediately sneered at them. Since you have already used the ultimate move on me before, then I will show you my abilities next. Chapter 297 Hanging Three Shadows. Hee, I said that you are too arrogant, you little bastard. At this time, when Kazekage, Mizukage, and Hokage heard that Fengjan was going to fight back at them, they laughed so hard that they fell back and forth. I'm telling you, little bastard. Don't think you've blocked our attack and you can pretend to be in front of us. Yes, you can block our one attack, can you block our second and third attacks? Hee, stop talking nonsense to me. Kazama saw that these three cage-level masters were obviously not his opponents, but now he still dared to act in front of him. It immediately made him sneer, and then a face-to-face effort, directly attacked the three. And at this time, the attack that Kazekage unleashed was the trump card of Kazekage, Mizukage, and Hokage. This suddenly scared them into a cold sweat and took a few steps back. They thought that even if Kazama could block their own attack, Kazuma's counterattack would definitely not be too arrogant or too sharp. After all, one cannot be perfect. If a person's defensive power is very strong, then its attack power will be very weak. On the contrary, if a ninja's attack power is very sharp, then his defense power will be very garbage. But they never expected that the defensive power of Kazami is not only very powerful now. Even his attack power is so defiant. A few face-to-face efforts, the three famous Kazekage, Mizukage, and Hokage were beaten by Kazekage and retreated. At this time, it wasn't just Namikaze Minato and the others below that couldn't believe it. Even the subordinates of the three cage-level masters, Mizukage, Kazekage, and Hokage, were all shocked. Because they never thought that their leader would be beaten like this by a little genin. And now, the three of them are still teaming up, and they are actually no match for Fengjan alone. This has greatly refreshed their worldview. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would have never dreamed of it. At this time, when the three cage-level masters saw that Kazama really had the ability to knock themselves to the ground, they immediately became angry. If the three of them were knocked to the ground by thousands of ninjas, that was nothing. Now the three of them were knocked to the ground by a genin in the wind. This made them very angry. So the three of them immediately performed their all-out solutions again. It's a pity that no matter how awesome and powerful they are, how could they be the opponents of the wind? Now Kazama is just a little trick, and it is easy to beat Kage, Reikage, and Mizukage again. At this time, these 3 Kage level masters saw the pair of Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in Kazama, and thought that the reason why Kazama was so awesome and powerful was because of this pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. So the 3 of them immediately rushed into the wind and said, "Let me tell you, Xiao Mao, if you really want us to quell this battle, then even if you kill us, it will be completely useless." "Oh, so what do you say I should make you guys stop this fight?" When Kazama saw these 3 people, although they didn't beg for mercy seriously, they also said soft words to themselves. Therefore, Fengjian immediately sneered at them. "Hee, it's very simple, if you really want to convince us, then you can only have a fight with me." Chapter 298 Silly 3 Shadows. Nonsense, now I'm not only fighting with you with real swords and real guns, and I am not only real swordsman, but also 1 against 3, isn't this sincere enough? Of course it's not sincere enough. I tell you now, you have opened this pair of Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. You must know that this pair of Mangekyo Sharingan is famous in our ninja world, so as long as you don't use this Mangekyo Sharingan, if you can still defeat us, then we will recognize you as Lord. Okay, then listen to what you have to say. As soon as he heard that the 3 of them would not allow themselves to use Mangekyo Sharingan, the wind immediately smiled coldly. At this time, when the 3 heard that Kazama really agreed to his request and stopped using the Mangekyo Sharingan, they laughed wildly. Because they think about this little brat in the wind, no matter how awesome it is. But without the support of Mangekyo Sharingan, the wind room would be a rubbish, useless, and the mud could not support the wall. So Kage, Tsuchikage, and Reikage thought so, and immediately killed the wind. But they didn't expect that now Kazama is no longer using that Mangekyo Sharingan. But the next moment Kazami immediately cast his pair of Rinnegan's. Before the 3 of them could react, Kazama immediately cast the Shinra Tensei, Almighty Push sign, directly blasting the 3 of them out 100 meters away. At this moment, the 3 of them looked at each other and immediately exclaimed that it was a monster. After all, the previous pair of Mangekyo Sharingan in the wind was enough to shock them. Now they saw that Kazama actually opened the Rinnegan owned by the 6 Paths Immortals. How could they not be shocked? So a face-to-face kung fu immediately wants to run away. It's a pity that in front of this pair of Rinnegans in the wind, how could they escape? Then Kazama probed with 1 hand, and immediately cast Bansho Tenon, Universal Pull, and then sucked the 3 of them in front of him. At this time, Fengjian said to them again, "How is it? Are you willing to surrender to me now?" "I surrender to your mother." At this time, the wind was originally trying to persuade the 3 of them. "But I never thought that these 3 dignified Kage-level masters would curse at Kazama. How could Kazama not be angry?" So they cast the Shinra Tensei, Almighty Push, again, and immediately knocked these people to the ground. This was followed by the Bansho Tenon, Universal Pull, followed by the Shinra Tensei, Almighty Push, sign. In this way, a few face-to-face efforts made the 3 of them dizzy. At this time, the 3 of them also saw that they could not be Kazama's opponents at all. Although they don't understand why Kazami's strength is so superb, so awesome. But they now know that it is useless to think too much. After all, no matter what they think, they are indeed not the opponents of the wind. Therefore, he could only hurriedly kowtow to the wind and beg for mercy. "Brother Fengjian, we are all wrong. We really shouldn't be acting in front of you before. Please spare us a dog's life." "Oh, really?" Kazama was naturally overjoyed when he saw that these 3 Kage-level masters were really begging for mercy. "Hee, of course, if you think we are not sincere, then we will kowtow to you now and admit our mistake. Yes, we are very sincere now, so I hope you must listen to us." Chapter 299 Go back in time to fight Danzo. Hee, that's about the same. As soon as he saw the 3 of them, he was really afraid of himself, and Kazama immediately smiled and nodded. "Let me tell you, I have always been that sturdy and iron-boned man in the wind. I can't change my name, and now I don't want you to surrender to me. Oh, you've worked so hard to hang us up and humiliated us to such a degree that you didn't make us submit to you, so what are you doing? Hee hee, of course, it is to let you calm down this war. What? Hearing Kazama just told them to stop the war and bring the ninja world into peace. Kazekage, Reikage, and Mizukage immediately looked at me, and I looked at you, all looking at each other. After all, they knew that a person with a high level of cultivation like Kazama wanted to unify the entire ninja world by himself. But they never expected Kazama to be so powerful now, but Kazama never talked about unifying the ninja world. They even let the three of them continue to return to their respective villages as leaders of the village. This naturally makes them very grateful. And then the Konoha army once saw Kazama use his own strength, and they quelled the third ninja war. All of them immediately admired the wind and were very grateful. But some people are happy and some are worried, and now the wind is so powerful and so powerful. A face-to-face kung fu spread to the ears of Danzo, the leader of Konoha's roots. You must know that in the real world, Kazama killed Danzo long ago. But in this parallel world, Danzo is still alive and well. And now because Danzo is in the third ninja war, Danzo is also a lot younger. And the strength is also more powerful, and the ambition is also very big. Now he was shocked when he heard that their Konoha had produced such an awesome person. Then I heard that Fengjan is not only powerful, but also has Mangekyo Sharingan. This made that Danzo burst into laughter. All know, Danzo likes to collect Sharingan very much. His entire right arm was transplanted with Sharingan. So Danzo also really wants to get the Mangekyo Sharingan from Kazama. So Danzo here is a face-to-face, and he tells his subordinates to deceive Kazama to him. At this time, one of the subordinates of the root heard that Danzo actually wanted to attack Kazama, the hero who saved Konoha. This naturally made him puzzled, and he immediately looked a little unhappy. And that Danzo is a famous old fox. When Danzo saw that his subordinates actually dared not to obey his orders, he was immediately furious. Then, with a single palm, this subordinate was beaten into a crippled man. This sudden change suddenly scared the numerous subordinates back several steps. They never expected that now this Danzo actually turned his face when he turned his face. At this time, Danzo said to the crowd again, I tell you these bastards, I, Danzo, have always said one thing, you people were my subordinates before, and now you dare not to obey my conquest. If you don't obey me if you ordered me, then I'm bound to burn you to ashes, do you understand? I understand, we don't dare not obey your orders. Although these subordinates said this on the surface, they were still somewhat dissatisfied with Danzo in their hearts. Chapter 300 Danzo wants to pretend. But because Danzo's strength is too powerful and superb, they let them eat the gall of a bear and a leopard, and they dare not resist any more, so they can only give up. At this time, Danzo sneered when he saw that everyone dared not continue to act in front of him. Immediately after that, he dispatched his subordinates to lead the wind. Danzo thinks his roots are in Konoha, but few people know it. And even if Kazama knew, he couldn't possibly know that he wanted to attack him. But he didn't know that Kazama was a person from the real world. So Kazama knew for a long time that Danzo didn't hold back any good farts. Now Kazama is just about to take the time machine again and enter the era of the second generation Hokage Senju Tobarama. I saw Danzo's men come down and ask me to go to the route. Kazama naturally sneered when he heard it. Expected that Konoha would send someone to say that Danzo was looking for him, which made Kazama sneer. At this time, Namikaze Minato and others didn't know Danzo's ambitions. Therefore, he happily rushed to Fengjan and said, I said little brother Fengjan, now I want to congratulate you. Oh, what do you want to congratulate me on? Congratulations to yourself upon hearing that Namikaze Minato. The wind was immediately confused and puzzled. Hee, I said little brother Kazama, you may not know something, Lord Danzo is one of the top leaders of our Konoha. If he has summoned you now, then in all likelihood, he will delegate important tasks to you, don't you think? Don't you know? Congratulations. This. Namikaze Minato's words. Kazama burst into laughter. Kazama originally wanted to explain Danzo's ugly face to Namikaze Minato. But Kazama thought that he had no evidence. Even if he said too much, it would be useless, but it would cause suspicion in Namikaze Minato's heart. Therefore, Kazama could only immediately nodded with a smile. Then a face-to-face effort, and immediately went to the root of the team battle. At this time, Danzo sneered when he saw that Kazama came to his own territory so easily. Then he pretended to be in the wind and said, I said you, this kid, I have never seen you in Konoha before. What is your name? Why are you so powerful now? You are not from the Uchiha clan. Why can you have Mangekyo Sharingan? This. Seeing that Danzo, the old fox, made a face-to-face effort, he brought the topic to his Mangekyo Sharingan, and Feng Jian immediately sneered. Then Feng Jian said to Danzo again, whether I am from the Uchiha clan, maybe it has nothing to do with you. Besides, whether I have Mangekyo Sharingan or not has nothing to do with you. If you have nothing else to do with me, I'm going to say goodbye now. Presumptuous. Where do you think this is? Come as you say it, and leave as you say it. Danzo was furious when he saw Feng Jian dare not give himself face. Directly instructed his subordinates to surround the outlet of this route firmly. At this time, Kazama sneered when he saw that Danzo was so eager to attack him. Then he rushed to the Kazama again and said, I tell you Danzo, I have always changed my name and surname. I have helped Konoha resist the attacks of the four great powers before, and I also quelled the Ninja World War by myself. Are you going to do something to me now?